Gonzalez, your host today. It is March 8th, 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time or 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, depending on where you're listening to. We are live here in the Sounds Like Lisa Simulcast studio. I am simulcasting on Twitch, YouTube, and I believe Facebook right now. I was going to be doing One Two Radio, but the One Two Radio is not allowing me to log in for some strange reason. So I will be doing this live without being on One Two Radio. So I hope you guys can hear me today. Hopefully, you can see me. I am. Seeing that there are some people that are logging on, so hopefully this will work for everybody who is around. Well, what are we going to be talking about today? We're going to be talking about what's coming up this week here on the Hello Quali here on the Tuesday format. Here we're going to be doing our Lisa scopes. I've got my cards ready to take a look at. This week I'm using a different set of cards because look what my kitty cat did. See how these are all warped? He decided he was going to spill some water on my cards, and I'm very upset about this. This is not a good thing. These are my favorite handy dandies that I use all the time. So we're going to have to go to a different deck. And so it should be an interesting read without having the same deck, but we'll try to do something with a new deck. And I've got a couple new decks around me in case I don't like the one that I'm going to be reading with. I have this Legacy of the Divine Tarot. These are beautiful cards. I don't know if you can see them. We might be using these instead. Um, but it won't matter what card deck I use. We'll definitely get a good reading out for today for everybody who's looking forward to having a reading. And I'll be opening up the mic for questions later on as far um, as other things to do for this week. Let me see something here. I don't know why I'm getting buzzed right now. Okay, it's not from my producer. But producer Scott is off today. He's at a softball tournament. So this is me producing myself live. And hopefully I'll be doing just as well without him. We already had the one mishap with the One Two Radio. It's not allowing me to join for some reason. So I don't think they were anticipating me doing this I guess, without having him being here. But I'm going to be doing it anyways because everybody wants to see it. I know that Scott and I talked about doing it, but yeah, it doesn't seem like I'm doing it um, without Scott today. But it's looking like I can have my show without the One Two Radio today, and it'll be okay. I'm sure it will be. But it's nice to see some people showing up anyways. And yes, I'm very excited. I can see some good news popping up on the formatting right now. Quelly last week was looking to get the job, and it looks like Quelly did get the job. And I know that we were talking about that last week, and I'm glad to see that my prediction was right, and that some of us are doing well this week. It's going to be an interesting week in general, I think. I have a feeling. So, this is a week about creativity. We're in Pisces now. And so, anything artistic, creative, new beginnings, this is where we are right now. It's all about a fresh start. We're getting into spring, believe it or not. And that energy of pushing through and having new beginnings is starting right now. So, if you're feeling this urge to have these new beginnings, you are right in line with the universe. And it's a really volatile time as well. I mean, we see change happening around us, whether we look at the Ukraine or we look into our personal lives. You can see a lot of this is happening through drastic changes. So know that the world is kind of echoing this and the sentiment that I'm talking about right now is like pushing for changes and having new beginnings. And my hopes and thoughts are and prayers are with the people of Ukraine today as they are enduring just bombing and all sorts of terror from Russia. And I don't even believe that most of Russia wants this. It's just some of the bigger people that are with the big guns doing what they're doing. And hopefully, with our embargoes and our sanctions that we're putting through, it can squeeze these people of Russia to think differently about what they're doing to the Ukraine. So hopefully, all of our thoughts and prayers can be lifted up and given to them so that their suffrage is not so much and that we can move forward in this world. Let's take a look at this. Mary says, I'm going through some yucky stuff now. Do you see things getting better soon? Mary, as I get into today's readings a little bit more, I will definitely take a look at that when I have some time to do personal people. But let's just get going. I'm going to be using the thought deck today, and I do, like I said, have the legacy deck in case I decide to pick. I don't know which one I'm going to do, but I've been shuffling the thought deck. So I think I'm going to start off with the thought deck to do, or at least our Lisa scopes. And then maybe I'll go over to the legacy to do individual questions because they're so pretty. And I do enjoy using new decks from time to time. I like my old trustees, but it looks like I'm going to have to iron them or do something. My stupid kitty. He's very precocious and he got into I made the mistake of leaving a water down on my desk and he knocked it over when I was sleeping. And now I have wrinkly cards. It's not the end of the world, but I don't like to use them unless I think I can iron them. I'm going to try to iron them and see if they work out. It's either going to be a fail or a non fail. If anybody has any suggestions on how to figure out how to fix wrinkly, I mean, I've tried to look how wrinkly they are. I've tried to, I don't know if you can even see how wrinkly they are. Maybe like that you can. I've tried to lay them flat for a few days, but they're just so warped. I may have to get another deck. And I'm dreading it because this is such an expensive deck. I love this deck, but it's out of print and now it's a couple $100 just to get a new deck of this. It's not what I wanted to do with my money. So if anybody has any suggestions, I'm going to try to iron them. Use a t-shirt on top of them and iron them. Maybe I'll even do a program about ironing them to see if it works. Um, because I heard that I could do that. I have a little frog in my throat today, so just bear with me. Oh, and I'm going to just take a sip of my awesome coffee from Ziggy's. If I have to do a shameless plug, this coffee is great. They also have the most extensive like the most extensive sugar-free flavors I've ever seen on a menu, which is not only is their coffee superb, but I can get my sugar-free flavors without spiking up my insulin levels, so I'm psyched. Keeps the carbs down too. So, yeah. Okay. I shuffle cards. I put the bout flat. I'm getting my handy dandy pen ready because we know I write these down, and we'll see if there's any patterns coming up. But for this week, the 8th, let's take a look at what we got coming up. Last week I did them in advance, and then it was like kind of whole discombobulated like reading. So I'm glad I'm doing them right when I'm talking to you. Okay, so this is the Princess of Wands. I don't know if you guys can see this. This is for Capricorn. Now, this is a great card. I love these cards on the thought deck because I talk about these cards and sometimes I tell you the story about how these cards came to be. But this is a great example of the story of this card. This woman, there's a woman who's naked, if you can see the card, has a tiger that she's like dragging behind her that is dead, and she's riding up a wave of energy, and you can see the flame of the wands there. So the story behind this is the tiger represents the fear that this woman had about moving forward. And what she does is she conquers her fears. She slays her fears of moving forward and everything that holds her back. And she moves forward with the energy of the tiger. So, and that's what propels her forward to go forward. Now, what does this mean in today's terms? What is the story? How do we apply this to Capricorn? So, Capricorn, you tend to get stuck in your head a lot, and you're very, very analytical as opposed to emotional. I mean, you've got emotions. Don't get me wrong, Capricorn. I'm not saying that, but you can think of every single excuse to tell you why you shouldn't do something or why you cannot do something. This card is the representation of you taking that little voice and those fears, shutting it up, and using all that energy that you would put towards your excuses and moving forward and taking that energy and moving forward anyways. So, when we were talking about beginnings and whatnot, all these ideas that you have, Capricorn, that you've been afraid to start or afraid to do, this is the week for you to like put those on the shelf and use yourself oh, awesome, Lucy. And use yourself to move forward with the fear not being there. Okay. Using that fear as your energy to move forward as opposed to letting it oppose you this week. So it's a very powerful card. And I love this deck because once again, if you look at the card, it really kind of shows you in a wonderful way how this woman is naked. So she doesn't have her armor on. Whenever we see naked things or naked people in cards, we know that they aren't having their guard up. They're using their authentic self and they're going unguarded into a situation, which can be very powerful and very healing for somebody who has a lot of fear to attempt this because this is the week to do it. Okay, so I hope you hear me, Capricorns. Put your fears away, take what you're doing and use that energy and move forward. And you will find you will have some good results. Let's go over to Aquarius now. Aquarius, we're hitting you with okay, another card. Now, not all my cards are orange, but now we're seeing like just between the two cards, we have a reddish card and an orange card. We're seeing some sort of similarities going on here. This is the Four of Discs. This is the power card. What's really interesting about this card is I went through the drive-through of Ziggy's, and the girl who was my barista asked me what I did for a living because I said I was going to go to work. And I said, I'm a psychic. She's like, oh, I love psychics. What medium do you use? I said, well, I use a few different, but I'm a tarot card reader. And she was like, I love tarot cards. What's your favorite card? And I said, well, that's a good question, by the way. My favorite card is the Sun card. But I have a few favorite cards, you know. She's like, mine is the Four of Discs, which is this card right now. I'm reminded of my darling barista. She's really cute. Uh, and this is all about power and health. And if you look at it, it's like an aerial view of a fortress and a moat. Can you see it? It's a square with four corners and a fortress and a moat. And whenever I talk about fours, this is a four card. Okay. Whenever I talk about fours, I always talk about the need to be balanced. And with the fours, you have the four corners. Okay, which is giving you like the four corners of a chair, which is giving you the stability and the balance. Now, this is the aerial view of a moat and being protected. So, for Aquarius this week, we are showing that you are trying to fortify your life and be protective on a lot of levels. Now, this can include health. This could be including your finances, trying to fortify your finances and put them someplace safe. But this is you being protected this week and like protecting yourself by being very cautious on how you're going to be handling situations. But imagine yourself having that drawbridge open and knowing that you're fully protected, and this is how you're trying to feel. Okay, so this week is all about organizing and protecting your assets and your health. Now, I say health because health and wealth. Because with discs, we talk about manifestation, and it's usually the manifestation of something. So, health and wealth is a really good way of like kind of like remembering it. So this week you may be securing your assets, trying to figure out where to put like your monies, and trying to really focus on building up your health and being very stable and healthy, and continue to allow your assets to grow. I know that sounds kind of boring for some of you. You'd be like, oh no, but it's actually a very necessary thing that you do in order to maintain where you are right now and to guard yourself. So it's kind of a guarded state in some ways, but it's a good state to be because you're taking care of yourself. So don't worry about like other people going, hey, uh, you have a boring card this week. It's not boring like that. It's a very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a very conscientious card. It's not telling you like I just told Capricorn to go and like let go of things and move forward. This is more like to guard yourself and to keep yourself protected, and it's all about like healing that area and making it fortified. Okay, so different aspects, but definitely similar in the sense of like moving forward and protecting yourself. Okay. All right. Let's go over to Pisces. We are in Pisces this week. Let's see what we have for our birthday people. Oh, I laughed earlier in case you guys noticed what was going on. My friend Lucy just sent me how to take creases out in a card, how to iron out creases in cards. I'm so happy you sent that to me because I hadn't looked it up yet, Lucy, but I knew there was a way to do it. I had heard. So I'm going to try my hardest to fix my cards because they are wax coated. All of them are wax coated. I know there's a way to do it. But when paper gets crumply, it's hard to get it like straight again. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so my third card, and this is the card for Pisces today. It's the 9 of Swords. Okay. This is let me show you this, and I don't want you guys scared or anything, but it shows 9 swords that are dripping blood. Now, this looks like a horrible card, but it's not. It has a lesson though, and I just want to just show you what is showing. It has blood dripping at the end. First of all, let's talk about nines. Nines are at the end of a cycle. 10 will be the end of the cycle, but it's towards the end of a cycle. This card is a representation for Pisces on saying, you're your own worst enemy. You're the one that sticks the knife in you. You're the one that like burns the candle at both ends. And so your actions that you've been doing this past couple of weeks, you may find yourself being overwhelmed and you have only yourself to blame. I don't want you to blame yourself necessarily, but I want you to slow down and realize that you're the only person that's driving the negativity around inside of you right now because you've overextended yourself usually. And so for Pisces, you are now like putting unfair blame on yourself about situations that have been occurring or actions that you've been doing this past week that haven't been working for you. I want you to take yourself and give yourself a hug in your own mental state and say, it's going to be okay. Because it looks like your worry about a situation and the way you've been handling things, you've put yourself into a very guilt ridden state this week. And so, what I'm trying to tell you is to stop it, knock it off. Nobody else but you can see the flaws that you are perceiving right now. So, recognize that this week may be hard for you to get through some of these actions that you're doing without like being really hard on yourself and critical, and this is calling for you to stop it, but it's calling you out and saying, hey, slow down, pay attention to how critical you are of yourself because nobody else is that critical of you. You're almost done with some of the actions that you're going through, and you don't need to be sitting there blaming yourself, shaming yourself, doing the woulda, coulda, should haves. And this is what this card is talking about. I don't see this card that often come up. I mean, every once in a while it'll come up, but if it's coming up for you, Pisces, you are either down on your birthday or down on like how your life is right now. Stop it. Okay. Recognize and listen what other people are telling you. You're probably your worst critic right now. And I'm just reminding you that you need to lighten up on yourself as you look at yourself this week and the actions that you're taking. And I guarantee you'll have a better week if you just are less critical of yourself. Okay. So going over to Aries, let's see what brings up Aries this week. Aries is a good card. Aries has the 10, the major arcana 10, the Wheel of Fortune. Okay. I love this card. This card is always talking about the cycle life. It has the wheel in the middle of it. And it's saying what goes around comes around, Aries. You have good fortune coming with you. You've had a rough couple of weeks. So having this card is a good sign. It means that you're at the end of a cycle and at the beginning of a new cycle, and new luck is coming in around you. So the Wheel of Fortune is your friend, and that you have new beginnings starting this week. And I want to see you all take advantage of it because it's a good card to have, Aries, and it should put you in a really good mood. Expect the unexpected to happen for you, but unexpected in a good way. Okay. So, what a good card to have for Aries this week. I can't wait to see how my Aries friends use that, but it'll be good luck for you. And I can tell you, knowing what's been going on the past few weeks with Aries, this is a very welcome card this week, and it'll be cool to see how this unfolds for my fellow Aries friends. Going over to Taurus. Taurus, let's see where you are. My dogs are going nutty in the background, and I apologize if you hear that. They do not like to be away from me. They're very clingy. Uh, okay, so Taurus has the Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords, I mean, let me talk about swords for a second because we just had the Knight of Swords, and I was like, oh, you're so hard on yourself, right? This is another card to where I have to say, okay, the Seven of Swords is saying, now if you notice, you've got one sword that is upright and pointing outwards, and then six swords pointing inwards. This is very similar in some ways to the Nine of Swords. It is telling me that, you know, you're doing like one step forward and two steps back in some ways. This is kind of a futile situation for yourself because things aren't working for you, Taurus. You're trying to find a way. This is a seven. So you're trying to find a way to change your situation, but you're finding that no matter where you turn with your situation this week and trying to make changes, it's feeling futile in what you're doing. And it's a lot of it is driven by your own self doubt. Okay. So with you, Taurus, a lot of it is on the way that you're thinking this week about things. You want a situation to change, but you're finding that it can't because your own mind is blocking you from it. And your own lack of action, the action that you have is actually self sabotaging, is what it's showing me. So, Taurus, you have to really like pay attention to like what type of changes you're trying to be making and are they beneficial for you or detrimental for you this week, and know that you want to change from your situation, but you've got to be able to make a change that doesn't harm you in the process. Okay, so it's a lot like the Nine of Swords in some ways, but the Seven of Swords is telling me that change is possible, but don't allow yourself to stop the change, which could be like self-sabotaging. So be careful with that this week, Taurus. um, I want to see you succeed, but it's almost like you're self sabotaging yourself. So pay attention to how you execute things this week because you may be your own worst enemy if you don't prepare. Okay. And I know that sounds kind of ominous, but the good news is that that seven does indicate change. So there is change coming. It's just a matter of, I would almost venture to say with Taurus, it's your attitude that's going to make this change possible or not. If you're sitting there self-sabotaging yourself, you're not going to have the change that you want. Try to try to visualize, that's the word, envision. Try to envision the positive outcomes coming from you and from others around you, and you may just get what you want. But I have a feeling attitude has a lot to do with what I'm looking at this week, and your attitude can self sabotage the changes if you have a cruddy attitude. So be careful with that because that can turn on you and make it even worse if you're not careful. All right, going over to Gemini. Gemini, what card do we get for you this week? Gemini is a good card. Gemini has the 10 of discs. Okay, Gemini, this is a really good card. This usually means that money is coming in that you did not earn. Okay? This is but money that you deserve. So this could be taxes coming back, like getting money back from taxes. This could be scholarship, this could be a raise coming in, but this is all about like like um unexpected income coming in. Okay, let's put it this way. So you may have a small windfall. This might be a very good week for you to take out what do you call those? A lotto ticket or get a scratch off or something like that because you're lucky this week, Gemini. And this little bit of money that's coming your way should be good for you. And I can't wait to see how you use it. So that is the 10 of discs. So we have a very lucky week for Gemini, and we have a very lucky week for Capricorn in some ways if they utilize it. But everybody else, we got to work on power and like our attitudes, I guess. Let's go over to Cancer. Cancer, this card is calling. What is this card? I have to get you. You want to come out. Okay, Cancer has the Ace of Swords. So it's new action for you, Cancer, this week. We're talking about new beginnings, actions. Anytime we have aces, we know it's the new beginning. And this is just in line with what I was talking about with the Pisces energy is this is the time for you to start something new, Cancer. The action is all yours. You have good energy behind this, so if you've been waiting to do something, this is the week for you to like start this new venture that you've been hoping to do. Swords are always a complicated
thing because it's talking about aggression, action, activity, moving forward, making like shaking the tree type deal. But this is what is supposed to be done with the Cancer. You may have been holding off for a couple of weeks, starting something, not sure when the time was right to start it. This is the time to do it, and you will find you will have a good response. So, good luck with that. I can't wait to see what's happening. Let's see. Shelly says, I need some good vibes and prayers sent my way. Surgery tomorrow. We will definitely do that for you, Shelly. And I am looking forward to uh, getting into the latter part of this so we can really go into depth with all my friends that are looking and listening today. So this is good. All right, going over to Leo. Leo, let's take a look at you. You kind of had a rough week last week, Leo. Going into this week, let's see if it's any better. Well, it looks like it's not as great as I would hope. This is the 5 of discs, okay? So you may find yourself feeling worried about a situation, worried about your finances, feeling very stuck with a situation. Not a great card to have for Leo this week, but it looks like if you look at it, there's outside chaos coming in, trying to like ruin a perfectly good situation in some ways, you know? Um, but it really has to do with like worrying about how to handle and heal this situation here with this worry that you have. Uh, you know, this is one of those weeks for you, Leo, where you're just going to have to puddle, muddle through this. It's not a great week for you on some levels, but if you keep your head down and keep working, you can get through this. It's like, I want to just tell you that next week will be a better week, and we will see how that goes. We'll see how that works out for you. But I can see that your mind is trying to be creative on trying to get yourself out of a situation, trying to figure out how to make finances improve, try to figure out how to make your relationship improve. I mean, it looks like it's a war zone around you and you're just trying to like get through it. Just know that this week will pass and another one will happen soon. Take everything one day at a time. And as my mother would say, this too shall pass. So hang tight. It's going to be rough this week. And I can see that, Leo. I'm sorry to tell you that. But, you know, you're strong and you can get through it and just focus on what you have to focus and what you can control and not what other people are what other people are doing around you. It'll be helpful, okay? All right, going over to Virgo. Let's take a look at Virgo. Virgo has a good card. Virgo has the 2 of discs. Now, this is a really cool card if you can look at it with this deck. See, everybody has different pretty like drawings and stuff. I really think this deck is very accurate in some ways. You can see that this is the duality of the 2 of discs going on here. It's talking about change. There's move and changing, the yin and yang of things for you this week. Virgo. So you will find that you may be encouraged to have a new job, to change places on where you live. But this is talking about movement and change for the divine balance. Okay, you've got your yin and your yang, as they say, and it's all in divine perfection that this movement is happening around you. So if you're finding yourself changing positions, changing jobs, moving, you're right in the flow of things, Virgo, and you can see that change is going to be bringing harmony into your life. So it's actually a good thing for you. That move or change that's happening for you this week. Let's take a look at Libra. How are my fellow Librans doing today? Ooh, Princess of Swords. Oh, I can understand this one. So the Princess of Swords, we had the Princess of Wands before where I had talked with Capricorn how they have to lose their fear. This card is for Libras this week. These are the obstacles that you're facing in front of you. So again, there's another battle. Now, instead of the wands to lose the fear, this is saying that you've got your druthers, Libra, but you're facing the obstacles that are coming up and challenging them one by one at a time. So you're swinging your sword over there, if you could see. Now this princess has armor on, so she's got this green armor. She's healing. Okay, so the green armor is the armor of healing, and she's got her sword. So she has got some protection around her, but she's facing the things, the outside situations that are coming up against her in battle. She knows she has to slay them in order to get where she needs to get. This isn't about fear for Libra. This is about just being protected and taking one thing one step at a time and handling each monster or each, in this case, each obstacle that you may have every day. Just take it one step at a time. If you look at it all together, it might feel a bit overwhelming, and I don't want you to feel overwhelmed, Libra. I want you to understand this is conquering one problem at a time. So basically, I can give an example of that. So I have a dog that needs to be groomed tomorrow. So I am finding myself having to call the vet to find the rabies because I can't get the rabies shot. If I don't have proof of the rabies shot, I can't get the dog groomed. And like I'm calling like four different vets because this vet is a foster. This dog is a foster dog. I'm calling four different vets to try to find proof of a rabies shot in the past 2 years. I have to just keep calling one at a time. And if I can't find one, I have to go get a rabies shot today. Like overall, this could be very overwhelming for me. And this is just one task I have to do. Like I have like five different tasks that have five different parts that I like. It's taking up all of my time today to do just five mundane things. It should be just easy. Make an appointment, have the vet say yes about the rabies and go forward and have the dog groomed tomorrow, but it's turning into like process after process after process after like multiple steps is like, and everything that I seem to be doing, whether it's like taking a check to the bank or something like that, it seems instead of it being easy, you just have to break it down and just go with the pieces that are going on. This whole week has been like that so far. Yesterday was like that, today is like that. Nothing is easy, but I'm just fighting everything, taking it one step at a time, and this is what I'm encouraging my fellow Librans to do is it's going to be a week where you feel like you're doing extra steps to get what you want, but take it one bite at a time, do one step at a time, and you'll eventually get to where you're going. It's not exactly smooth sailing for us this week, but it's okay. I know. I Christine says groom the dog yourself. I would if it were my papillons, but this is a multi-poo and I have tried to do it and I have made this dog look like it's a cancer victim. So I was treating the dog to a grooming, but I may end up having to groom the dog myself and make it look like it's. I'm not very good with the scissors, and I'm even worse with the shaving thing. I mean, the dog had like bald spots last time I tried to do it. It was not a pretty sight. It was going to be a treat because the dog likes to be groomed and he needs to be, but he's not my papillon. He's a foster multi-poo. He's super cute, but he's got some serious hair like matting issues and a little beyond my capabilities. So I may end up having to groom myself. Well, groom him myself. I don't know. I hope not. I was hoping he'd be pretty, but it is what it is. I'm not a dog groomer. All right, so Princess of Swords is what we're looking at for you. Libras, let's take a look at Scorpios because I know I've got a few Scorpios and a few Saggies that are always like, why are we always last? I can't help the order of things. This is just what goes on. So, Scorpios, let's take a look at y'all. Scorpios, I want this one. Ah, it's actually going to be a good week for Scorpio. We have the Three of Cups. Okay, so this is a good card. I know that Scorpio has been having some rough times, but this is actually a good card. I love this card. Look how everything's flowing. Everything's happening in divine perfection for Scorpios. There's a lot of changes going on. Some of y'all are moving and making changes. And others, are probably finding like they're being forced to change. I'm very curious about you, Mary, because I know you're a Scorpio. I'm wondering why you're having some issues, but it may be your rising sign or something like that. Because in general, this is a really good card. Everything that you turn to this week will go pretty smoothly and divinely the way it's supposed to. So, this is good beginnings for you, Scorpio, and I can't wait to say it says the abundance card. You should be hearing good news all around you, and this would be actually a good week for you. So hopefully, Mary, some of that will come into play and a little sprinkle your way with all the other crazy stuff that's going on around you. Okay. But it's actually a good card. So there will be some good blessings along the way. Let's go to Sagittarius, last but not least. This is the one card that I can never spell right. I mean, Sagittarius is the one thing that I'm like always having to think about going, how do I spell that out of all of them? Okay, Sagittarius, we're going over here. Okay, you have the 11 card. It's a major arcana card, the trumps card. They call that the lust card. Now, this is a really cool card. I hope I can zoom in so you can see this. So there's a woman riding a multi-headed beast, and she's got the rein on him, and she's lifting up her chalice into the world. So this is talking about like lust is what this card is called, but I prefer to like look at this card in some ways and saying like you're taming yourself this week and taking the many different talents that you have in order to make things work, Sagittarius. So you're going to utilize the many different skills that you have in order to make something succeed this week, and tapping into divine to like the divine. Now, what does this mean in like normal terms for Sagittarius? Basically, you have a lot of different, you're like a Jack or Jill of all trades. You have many different skills. You may find that you're using your creativity to get what you need. It may not be your main job, but you may have other skills that help you get to where you need to be. Like you'll be incorporating a lot of them this week. You're using this in unison with what you do in order to make things succeed. It's actually a good week for you to move forward and show yourself. Okay. Show your passion for what you like to do, show off, and it may be in a very unconventional way, in a way that may not be what you're like touted or known to do, but you'll be using your many skills in order to get where you want to be this week. So that's like a good card for you, uh, Sagittarius. You may be using a few, like, you're going to be putting on a lot of different hats like in order to show yourself off. So it's a good card for you on a lot of levels. Okay, so now I've done the 12 signs and now I can open it up to people. Let me take a look at what has been what has been put up on my thing and read something. Thank you, Lucy, again for that for the cards. I can't wait to see how this is going to be utilized in my own life. And maybe I'll be able to show what's going on around like ironing a card or something like that. That would be kind of cool, wouldn't it? Yeah, so other people can see what's going on. So, okay, so let's take a look. Yeah, Christine, you're laughing at me. I know, but I'm just not that good. I'm not that good at, let's see. So, okay, let's all for 1 second take a thought for Shelley here and just like hope her surgery goes well. Let's send her some healing and loving vibes because I know that's a little scary to go under the knife. But you have a lot of prayers and support coming from the 1-2 Listen community, from the 1-2 Radio community, and I'm looking forward to hearing that everything goes well. And it looks like Quelly and Jean and a few other people would be very happy to see that happening too. Let's see. Hi, Lisa. I would love to schedule a group reading with you. That is totally possible, Leslie. I'm more than happy to do that for us at some point in time soon. Now, I'm wondering why I can't see up and down. I should be able to go. Let me see with my chats. Maybe that's what I need to do. Here we go. Okay. Let's see. Those are my favorites. Yeah, my favorite cards, Lucy, I know. Okay. Hi, Terry. Hi, Vicky. Hi, Renee. Hi, Mary. Let's take a look at Mary. Mary, I said I would get to you first. So let's take a look at going through some yucky stuff now. Do you see things getting better soon? Well, for Scorpio, I know things are getting better for Scorpio, but let's just take a look at you in general. And Christine, it's so good to see you, by the way, about my dog. It's good to see that you're online and listening. Okay, so let's take a look here at Mary. I'm pulling three for you, Mary, because I know you're going through some yucky stuff. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's some changes all around you. Let's take a look at what you got. You've got the Queen of Wands. So I'm curious if this has to do this card is talking about making it through hell and back and forever changing and never forgetting. It's a really cool card because she was once a brunette and she goes through the fire and she becomes a redhead. It's supposed to remind her this is almost like a battle of cancer, something coming through it and being in remission, never forgetting. This animal is a leopard, but it was a tiger, which was her fear, and it's changed to a leopard. It was going to be a lion, but it decided to be a leopard, so the spots would remind her never to forget. So, really cool card situation. This is talking about not forgetting your past, but knowing from what you've been through on how to, you were forever changed by what you went through. And I'm curious, were you sick before and you're in remission? Is this having to do with your health and you're worried about it? Because we see some changes here. You're changing something here and moving forward with this. So the very, very curious about this here. And then there's the art card here, which is the third card here, which is another major arcana, and this is talking about. And I say another major arcana only because you don't have a major arcana, but you had the Queen of Wands, but you have some serious cards here. We're looking at the art card. This is also the Temperance card, and if for some of you who do the tarot but don't understand this deck, it has the chalice, it has the wands, it's being put into the cauldron, and it's the alchemy that's going on. I like the word alchemy better in some ways. The alchemy card is going on, it's going to transmutate into something else. So when we have these three cards together, it looks like you're concerned about your health and changes in your health. But what I'm getting from this is that your health is in divine perfection and you will be okay. I hope this makes sense to you. But I think you heard some scary news, and I don't actually believe that news to be. It has to do alcohol family and issues with anxiety over Ukraine. Alcohol family. I need to change my ways. Was there alcohol? If this isn't health, was the alcoholic an alcoholic that went into remission, Mary? Because that would make more sense. You do need to change your ways, but you're changing your ways with your way of thinking, maybe. It looks like it's going to work itself out in divine perfection, though. So I hope this makes sense. The change is there, and then it becomes an alchemy. So it mutates into something good. I mean, I thought it had to do with health the way I was looking, but I guess it could be the health of the alcohol. But that would mean that somebody had been an alcoholic in the past or had had issues with it in the past. As far as the Ukraine and the anxiety over it, look, I think we all are feeling it one way or another. We're starting to realize we're not so separate from the rest of the world, and it does affect us. Um, It's gonna get bad before it gets better, but I do think we're gonna get through this in this year. I don't think this is gonna last that long. I'm very curious to see what happens in August. Last week, I was like trying to pull what was going to go on in August, but I really think that there's like some big changes going on. We're gonna have kind of a cold war, it feels like, for a little bit. These sanctions will be working though, and we will be at Ukraine's assistance, I feel, for a long time until this stops. But it'll probably come to a head in August from what I'm seeing with everything that like my cards keep showing me. I hope this makes sense to everybody. We'll have to review this as this goes on, but um yeah, I you're an empath, Mary, so I can see why this would be hurting you. That's what I'm working on. Stopping drinking. Alcoholism runs in my family and it started to scare me with my own drinking. Okay, that makes sense. We will send prayers your way, Mary. Being part of an alcoholic family and not wanting to fall into those patterns can be very scary. It's good though. You have the first step, which is acknowledgement and like recognition that there may be an issue that you're dealing with. So, first is the acknowledgement, and then you can get to the acceptance that this is something that's going on in your family dynamic and the family psychic history. I mean, we carry our family's burdens. That's one thing that I can say that we carry. Our family. Some people will say my family's cursed with a burden. We definitely carry on our lineage. and we pass these along to our children, and we get passed them along, and these are our burdens to carry. If you know that this is going on with you and you're feeling, overwhelmed by it, recognizing the fact that you have an issue is the first step. Getting some help, getting support is the second step. And whether that's going to classic AA or just having support of other people who can be uplifting to you and help you to be accountable is huge. So you have prayers my way with you. And I know you can turn this into something wonderful. I mean, you may use this struggle as something that is transcending you in your life because of this card that you have as the outcome card, which is the art card. It'll turn it into something else. I firmly believe that we are given these challenges in order to become uh, fully evolved human beings. And without struggles, we don't grow, right? So, if this is a struggle that you are having right now, and that you've so graciously shared with us, know that we're behind you, and you have our support on this. I mean, this is a hard one to acknowledge. And anxiety tends to, when you're anxious, you tend to go towards your grips, the things that can help you. And if alcohol has been a crutch for you, this is a good time to really battle this out to see if you can handle your anxiety in a different way. You're one that I know that is into meditation and self reflection. So I have no doubt that you're going to figure this out, Mary. But feel free to call upon us and our strength to help you with this in the situation, because I know this can be very daunting. But know that you have a ton of support around you, okay? And know that we all love you and we don't judge you at all. And we know that for you to come forward and say this is an issue, we can do our Care Bear prayers to you and give you a lot of love and light your way, because you're an awesome person and I know that you can get past this, okay? Okay, let's take a look at let's see what's hearing is Thursday for hearing is Thursday for Scorpio. Oh, Lucy, I know what you're talking about. Replying to anything 103085. This is about that guy. Let's take a look. So Lucy has a very toxic how would I put this? Very toxic man that is involved with her daughter, that is going on a hearing on Thursday. And we are hoping and praying for his sake and for everybody else's sake that he spends some time in the clink. This one needs it, because he can cause harm to others very easily with his destructive ways. And some people you hope to stay in prison because or in jail because they need it. This is one of them. Let's take a look at this hearing. So it must have been postponed once because of the Ace of Discs here, and I think so. And then the Lover's card, they're coming back to the situation. Let's see what happens. I think they're going to change the dates again. Mary, I mean, Lucy, I don't know why, but I have a feeling they're changing the dates again, because you've got this Two of Discs card. There's change in movement again. He is the king of being able to just keep postponing things, but he has to sit in jail while he does this. Um, Eventually, when this happens, he will be put away. With the Princess of Cups, is you're just trying to protect your daughter here. This is you trying to protect your daughter, which is the little turtle in the shell, and you're doing your mama love. Um, and then I got the art card. Look, I got the same card that I got from Mary before, and I had shuffled. Um, I think things are going to happen in divine perfection for him. I do think he will be put away. He'll be spending more time in jail, but I keep seeing another continuance for some reason. And a change here. He'll still be stuck in jail though. That's the long and the short of it. I'm sorry to hear that. That's sucky. Um, that's happening. But at least he's not allowed bail. I don't think he'll be allowed out from what I'm seeing. Your daughter is safe for another 2 months at least, for what it's saying. So that is good. Let's take a look at, let's see. Tara said, I came in late, so I will need to listen after the 1229 afterwards. 1229, lots of shifts happening. Any thoughts on my work? Focus on my own good, go back or new? Okay. I understand the short I understand the shorthand that you're doing, Tara. So you're 1229. You're Capricorn. You missed Princess of Wands. I was telling the Capricorns that they basically have to lose their fear and move forward and take the energy of their fear of moving forward and take it and utilize it to go forward. So with just even with just that, I'm saying focus on your own and focus on going to new avenues, not going back. We want to go forward with you, okay, Tara? But I'm going to pull three for you. Um, and let's take a look. Yeah, Tara, I don't like what's going on around you. I think you need to move forward with where you're going. You have the Tower card, so there were some amazing like changes and significant shifts happening around you with this Tower card. Um, You have the Princess of Wands. We just got this. So you're Capricorn, but we got the Princess of Wands for you too. That's where you are right now. So you needed to hear that to lose your fear and move forward. And it's showing me that it's going to be kind of messy for you to go and get out of what you're getting into, or get out of what you're in. That's what I'm trying to say. And because there's a mess around you, but once you break free from that, you're going to feel so much better. You'll have the completion card, and it's saying to move forward for you. So, I mean, all in all, it's really good. It's just a matter of taking that fear that you have about like whether you should move forward or not and using it to actually move forward. So I'd love to see how that works out for you, but I know it's going to work out well for you if you do it. I think if you try to go back, it's going to be a mess. And I don't know what that means to you. So, yeah, that's all yeah, that's what I'm getting for you. I hope this makes sense for you. Well, folks, I think I've hit everybody. Thank you, Renee, for the reading. Thank you for the reading, Lisa. Have a wonderful week. That's from Renee. And for all of you who listened in today, I know there's a lot of you who listen in after the live. Next week, I will be in Austin, Texas, and I will be doing this live from Austin. Hopefully, I'll be able to use the One Two Radio app as well to get it all synced up. But until then, just know that I am wishing that you all make good choices, that you all have a fabulous week. And remember that we're in a season of change right now. Anything artistic, anything creative is going to be heightened. You may find yourself drawn to doing drawing or doing artistic things right now. Let that energy flow. It's a very creative time. This is going to help you to move forward in your world and to look forward to a spring that is bound to be coming to us soon. And I wish you all well and happy trails until I see you next time. Have a great afternoon and a great week. You can always find me at 12listen.com if you need to, or 12 Radio. Um, 12 Radio, I am usually on. I won't have this week's. You guys are getting this. If you get this week, you guys are getting it, and the people on 12 Radio aren't. But I will be around if you guys need to find me. Have a great week, and I will see you next week. Thank you for joining. Bye bye.